The New York Mets just traded their longest tenured player, Brandon Nimmo, a career Met, a fan favorite. The guy they gave $162 million to be a Met for life is gone. Marcus Semien is coming to New York, and David Stearns just held a press conference explaining exactly why they did it. This is Coach's Tape by Baseball Authority. Today, we're breaking down the Mets Rangers blockbuster trade, what each team gets, and what this means for both franchises. Let's start with what actually happened. On Sunday, November 23rd, the Mets and Rangers finalized a trade. The Mets are sending Brandon Nimmo, their star outfielder and longest tenured player, to Texas. The Rangers are sending back Marcus Semien, their 35-year-old all-star second baseman. The Mets are also kicking in $5 million in cash to help make the money work. Now here's where the contracts matter. Nimmo has 5 years and $101.25 million remaining on his deal. That's $20.25 million per year through 2030. Semien has 3 years and $72 million remaining. So the Mets are trading away a 5-year obligation for a 3-year obligation. That's significant. One more thing. Nimmo had a full no-trade clause and had to waive it to approve the deal. Both players share the same agent, Scott Boras. So this was negotiated carefully on both sides. David Stearns held a press conference Monday and didn't dance around the issue. He said, "What we did last year wasn't good enough, and running back the same group wasn't the right thing to do. That's the reality. The 2025 Mets missed the playoffs. They spent big money, assembled talent, and it didn't work." Stearns looked at the roster and realized staying the course wasn't an option. But why Nimmo? Why trade away one of the faces of the franchise? Stearns explained that trade discussions around Nimmo began to gain momentum at the tail end of the GM meetings in Las Vegas and picked up steam in the last week. He acknowledged the decision was especially challenging, given everything Nimmo means to the organization, his connections with teammates, his relationship with the fan base, and his status as a homegrown Met who was drafted in 2011 and spent his entire 10-year career in New York. But here's what Stearns said, and this is important. He did everything right here. But at the end of the day, it was still the right decision for the team. So what makes this the right decision? The contracts. Nimmo has 5 years left. Semien has 3 years left. By trading Nimmo for Semien, the Mets get off that 5-year deal 2 years earlier, giving themselves more flexibility and options by 2029. That matters when you're thinking long term. On paper, Marcus Semien looks like a gamble. He's 35 years old, and his 2025 season was rough. He hit .230 with a .305 on-base percentage and just 15 home runs in 127 games. Plus, he dealt with a season-ending foot injury in August. So why would the Mets trade for him? Because of who he is on defense and what he brings to the middle of the diamond. Semien is a 3-time All-Star over the past 5 seasons. In 2024, Semien posted plus 14 defensive runs saved at second base, one of the best fielding second basemen in baseball. For a Mets team that struggled defensively down the stretch, that's exactly what they need. For Texas, this is straightforward. Brandon Nimmo is 32 years old, and he just had the best power season of his career. He hit .262 and a career-high 25 home runs with 92 RBIs. His .760 OPS and 50.2% hard hit rate are career bests. He's also been productive consistently. For 5 straight seasons, Nimmo has posted a 2+ WAR, meaning that he's been a reliable, productive player year after year. Nimmo gives him a proven hitter who just demonstrated he can still produce power at a high level. The 2026 Mets will look completely different than the 2025 Mets. Whether that's a good thing depends entirely on what Stern does next. Here's the thing. On its own, this trade might not make a ton of sense for the Mets. You're trading away your longest tenured player, a career .262 hitter who just posted career-high power numbers, for a 35-year-old second baseman coming off his worst season in years. This isn't a standalone move. This is David Stearns opening the door to something bigger. He's clearing payroll flexibility, shortening contract commitments, and solidifying defense at the middle. Those are the moves you make when you're setting up for the next wave. Because the Mets still have work to do. They need to replace Nimmo's bat in the outfield, they need pitching help, and they still have to figure out if they're bringing back Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz, 2 franchise cornerstones who are now free agents. Stearns has already made it clear, he's not done. So here's the reality. We can't judge this trade right now. We have to wait and see what the Mets do next. If they land a big outfield bat, if they upgrade the rotation, if they bring back Alonso and Diaz, and if they use that payroll flexibility to reshape the roster going forward. Then this trade starts to make sense. But if they don't, if this is it, then they just traded away one of the faces of the franchise for a 35-year-old coming off an injury. And that's not a winning move. That's the story, that's Coach's Tape, and that's why the Mets offseason is one of the most interesting storylines of the winter. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that subscribe button and grab some Baseball Authority gear at baseballauthority.com. We'll see you next time.